Hello, everybody. Welcome to Wild Chats, your home for everything animals. I am Ryan. That is Maria. Um, Maria, we've both traveled around the world a little bit, and I've noticed sometimes when I'm in different parts of the world, they tend to do things a little bit differently. I've seen like construction, they don't bother to use elevators or ramps. They just stick a rope to a bucket and then they run across the field until it's at the fourth floor. Um,
There you go. Okay.
Everybody's got their own way of doing things. We know that at the beginning of like the Industrial Revolution, they used to use oxen and stuff like that to help plow fields and things like that. But today, video, we're gonna have a little fun and just kind of talk about and see some of the weird ways that animals kind of do human jobs.
Sounds like fun.
It was kind of inspired the other day. I don't remember if I was watching a video or I saw a photo, but there was like essentially a scene that needed to be blocked off. Like it was like a police scene. I don't know if they ran out of caution tape or what, but on one end, they just parked a big old elephant in the middle of the road. So nobody
I'll
could
do it.
pass through the scene.
Okay.
Like, no,
Okay.
no caution tape. Elephant. Okay, there we go. Problem solved.
That will be an attraction for me. I will have to go and say hi to the gigantic pachyderm.
Yeah, exactly. That might attract more people, but then you still can't pass the pachyderm. No passing pack. There should have been a sign on his rear
No
end that said no.
pachyderm parking. Passing.
Oh, so
No passing beyond the pachyderm.
pachyderm passing not permitted. Okay.
Without a permit.
Okay, now we're going too far. So with that example kind of in mind, you don't have to come up with anything that crazy because you have to come up with it off the top of your head. But what is the weirdest way you've seen an animal kind of being used for human jobs or just an animal being uniquely placed like that example?
Well, in China, I don't know if this is weird or not. I just found it fascinating.
Okay.
In China, they train the comrades. They look like in
So
Hingas.
it sounds like you just said comrades, like they're Russians hanging out in China.
The comrades.
Well, the cormorants, the birds, the cormorants. Okay. Okay. All right.
Or in Hingas, you notice I said a similar species, not that if you know one, will know the other. But anyway, they
Okay.
use
All
the
right.
cormorants
Okay.
to fish.
Okay.
And they will pay them with fish. So what they'll do is they'll tie just a little rope. They're not choking the critter. They're just not allowing it to swallow. And the comrade is gonna go and get the fish, and then we'll get paid with fish eventually.
Oh, so they put a rope around its neck so it can't like just pick its head up and just because they don't chew anything, they just literally straight down the gullet. So as long as they
Yep.
can't do that. Ah, okay. Okay.
It's the first story that came up at the top of my head. I mean, I have weasels being used for brushing, cleaning pipes, but I thought
They use them for as electricians too. Like to run wire and stuff like that. I thought it was like an old-timey thing, but I was reading something that they were building something like very high tech and they actually like in the 1900s, we're not talking like way back when it was like, hey, grab a weasel and let's go. There's a cartoon that uses like a weasel as like a spice shaker. I can't think of what the character is though. It's Futurama. So they've got Emerald Lagasse with the like bam when he spices something. Okay, so he's a famous cook, and that was kind of his shtick when he would throw some spice onto his thing, and he'd be like bam, like that was him spicing it. So in Futurama, he's like this alien character, but it's clearly like meant to be him. And he's got a weasel spicer, and it's like this animal he picks up, but when he twists its tail, like something comes out of its nose to spice the food.
Disgusting. That is just really disgusting. That is a nasty job.
It's
Thank you, Futurama, for torturing my mind now.
Oh, Futurama's fantastic.
Never watched it, but I like Perry the Platypus.
Okay. Yeah, was that Phineas and Ferb, right? I just watched that like a year ago. I got into that. Like I started
to. What's interesting about Phineas and Ferb is the guy who invented the platypus. You know, he made the teal color.
Yeah.
He actually came up with that color as a random choice, and we're talking about 20 or so more years ago. when the character began. And he was saying that he then came up with a sound that he thought would be perfect for Perry the Platypus.
Okay.
Fast forward 25, almost 30 years till now, and they discovered that platypus actually produce a low frequency light, like glow in the dark, that is
Okay.
almost the color of Perry the Platypus. And the best part, or second part, is the noise he chose randomly because he has never heard of a platypus.
Uh-huh.
It's very similar to the sound that platypus actually produces.
Uh-huh.
So, yep.
See, that's fun too because Perry was kind of the spy during the whole show.
Yep.
And I know that like militaries use dolphins and like seals to protect harbors, and they've had like birds they trained to like be spies. There was a really sad story I read a long time ago. The CIA, I think, had trained, I believe it was a cat, as a spy, and he had like high-tech equipment and stuff. And unfortunately, on his first mission, they let him go spy, and he got hit by a car. So the first cat spy was a little bit of a failure, not due to his inability to be a good spy like Perry the Platypus, but yeah, he couldn't dodge the car.
That is so sad. That is so sad.
I know.
Well, we'll rule for Perry the Platypus. He's a successful crime catcher critter.
Yeah, that was a really good show though. That was like I discovered, like I went in a cartoon phase when I was prepping stuff for a while, so I got into like Perry the Platypus and like Gravity Falls and some of the Big City Greens and things like that. Great shows. So sometimes, you know, we employ animals to do some of our farming for us, and then you've got dogs that are specifically bred to be like herding dogs. Like that's every dog. Most people realize, but they don't know their purposes. But like I had Westies, and their purpose, they're like gopher catching dogs. Like their purpose is to like get the things that come out of the ground.
Okay.
German shepherds are really smart. They're shepherds. They're literally, the word shepherd is in the name.
It's in their DNA.
Exactly. But they're super intelligent dogs and stuff like that. So I was poking around the other day, and I don't know if this guy got herding either completely right or he got it completely wrong.
Yeah, he got it right, actually.
He's got them all in the right place, and then he runs.
Look at it.
They gotta keep moving. Like this guy's a genius.
Them.
And the more
that is amazing. That is amazing.
I just thought that
border collie.
Yeah. At first, I'm like, oh, it's like a parkour dog, and I just thought it was cool for that. And then I realized him turn around, and then it pinches the lane to where they have to start moving again.
Yeah, they did. There was, look at it. It's incredible job. Incredible job.
Yeah, and look at that one sheep's like, oh, we're going this way. No, we're going. No, we're going this way. Okay.
Like nip. Hello. I love that.
I thought it was really cool.
The sad thing is many border collies, not border cholera.
We're having a day, aren't we?
You do not want to get cholera, okay? Border collies, many owners don't realize that they're so high strung that not only do they need to run every day several miles, but they also need a job. Many animals actually need a job in order to feel fulfilled. If you think of a cat, they need to exercise, and it's not only just catching the red dot from the laser. They actually need to catch something, or they will be frustrated. Like there is actually psychology about if you're gonna play with your cat, make sure they catch something, make sure there's a reward, because for them, hunting is their job.
Yeah. Have you seen the video that's like the total opposite of that, where there's a cat on one of those like big hamster wheel looking things, and then somebody's got a red dot light and they put it like just out of his reach at like the kind of curve of the thing. And he's just running his butt off trying to get it. And then eventually he goes like all the way around.
Oh, poor thing.
He gets off the thing like, I'm dizzy.
That's the thing. I mean, that sounds fun and they do exercise, but actually mentally they need to catch something. I mean, it is part of the reward. And same thing with animals. Our dog, our pet here, she literally is a couch potato, and it's a heating blanket. Those dogs
Mm-hmm.
can run harder than the sun sometimes. So if you're cold at night, a Chihuahua is a good dog to have.
Yes. I saw a cartoon yesterday when I was picking around online, and it's got a picture of a guy, and you see him sweating, and there's a door, and the dog, you can see he's got his paws up against the door like he just closed it. And then in the text, it basically reads, basically, you look at the sign and it says sauna. Like in Norway and stuff, like the saunas are really, really big there. That's like a daily thing. And the dog's on the outside and basically in a thought bubble. It's like, now you know how it feels when you leave me in a hot car.
No kidding. That is actually very true.
With
And
the
there's
little
some cars
engine.
nowadays that have this setup that says animal in, or like somebody was saying, like, oh, you left me at the be back, and that was the setting for the dog when the car is on, so that the dog is comfortable.
Yeah, when Teslas first came out, I know that people started leaving signs on their windows because Tesla has like that camping mode, and it has a dog mode also. So, and in the dog mode, I think you can even play music for them if you want to, or have a video on, and then it keeps the temperature the way it's supposed to be. But people would put the signs on the door so people realize that, hey, this is actually climate control, which is really cool. Like that's a feature that I'm just looking forward to in general, even as a camping mode. It's like, all right, it's hot. I can just hop in my car. I don't have to turn it on. I can just relax with me and my pup. And then once we're feeling better, go hit the trails again.
Not only that, but you don't have the fumes that you will have with regular carburetor, combustion cars. So
yeah, of course.
Safer there. But the problem is people don't realize, and they don't pay attention to touch the car to see if it's vibrating, a regular car. And they break a window, and it becomes their responsibility because they're breaking into a car, assuming they're helping the animal, but they're not. So one of the recommendations the police says, if you're going to damage a car, make sure you take a picture of the temperature outside. Make sure you actually record the situation. So if for any reason you need to go to court, you can prove that you were doing it to save the animal.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw a video of somebody. No, it wasn't a video. I'm just making this up off the top of my head, but I can imagine somebody.
So I'm gonna make up a video I saw.
Yeah, I'm gonna make up, but no, you like literally break into the car, and then you turn around and there's the cop there, and you're like, no, I was saving the dog, but unfortunately you've got the stereo you stole in your hand. I don't think that excuse would work in court. I don't think
that would do.
The dog. I was helping the no.
No. But yeah, that is definitely considered animal cruelty. And unfortunately, there have been many cases of people who forget their children because they fall asleep, and that is a very unfortunate case. I mean, a parent is tired and things like that happen. So nowadays, cars beep to tell you there is something behind.
Yeah.
And just as a precaution.
So, switching gears a little bit, of your chores, so you're out running around and you don't have any kids, so you wouldn't just accidentally leave them on the roof of the car as you drive away by accident. But
oh my gosh, I've heard of so many people actually doing that.
I love it when they remember their coffee, like they've got their Starbucks in their hand, but their kid on the roof. It's like, no, I didn't leave my drink on top of the car this time.
That's pretty bad. Pretty bad.
So, of your chores around the house, what's your least favorite chore?
Cleaning the toilets.
Cleaning the toilets. Okay. All right. What animal would you pick to do that job for you?
That will do the job well done. A monkey, perhaps?
Monkey? You're going monkey?
I'm going with a larger ape, not a monkey, a larger ape.
I think the gorilla's fitting through the door, so probably not gorilla.
Hey, those dudes can fit in the door. I mean, they had to shimmy, but can you imagine a lowland gorilla? It's gigantic.
It'd be like The Rock in a tiny, tiny bathroom trying to do his cleaning and stuff. Like, oh, ow!
Perfect. I'll have The Rock come and clean my toilet. Thank you, Rock.
That would be why he would be there, I'm sure. Have you seen Thor: Love and Thunder yet?
No.
Oh, you're not gonna get the joke then. All right, I will leave it out.
But Jumanji, I've seen Jumanji like 20 times.
Okay, there is there's a rock joke hidden within Thor: Love and Thunder that I thought was pretty obvious, but then I've started to see like YouTube posts and like Reddit threads where people are like, "Oh, I didn't get that." Like to me, it was just super obvious joke. But when you see it, look for the rock joke within the movie.
Great. Now I'm not gonna pay attention to the entire. I did watch Doctor Strange. That was really good. It just came out on DVD.
Okay.
I always wait for the DVD so I can watch it at home and
all right.
chat if I have to.
In the monkey realm, whoever this was decided that they also were going to go with monkey, but their least favorite chore was not cleaning toilets. Their least favorite chore was washing clothes, apparently.
I bet the monkey's having fun.
Look at him go. I mean, he's not messing around. He's like spreading it out. He got the little soap thing. Like, this isn't a like I look cute slapping something. Like, he's washing clothes.
He's adorable. Like, this is just so adorable.
Look at him go, though.
He's having a good time. I mean, that monkey's having a good time.
I know.
What did you say?
I said he keeps looking up like, "Are you judging me? I'm doing a good job, man. I'm working here."
I'm having fun. Hello. Although, do you see how he wrapped the towel around the brush? It was adorable.
A little bit, but I don't know. I thought it was pretty good technique. I mean, having traveled a bit, I have washed my clothes like this, but there's a lot of people in the world that have not like hand washed their clothes on something like this before. I think the monkey could beat them.
You can you have not traveled the world if you have never washed your clothing in one of those type of sinks. Like
I've never seen one of those in America.
No, never. I don't think we'll see them in America, but you do see the bumpies. No, you don't have those, do you?
No, they have a sink when you leave the garage if you work on cars and stuff a lot. A lot of times, like in Texas, they'll have that entry room, the laundry room, but it'll also have the sink where you can kind of wash off all the grime, so you don't do it in the actual like kitchen sink.
Yes. Mm-hmm. But you're missing out the slidey.
Yeah, because it's not for clothes; it's for hands. But exactly, all those bumps are all textured, and then.
But on top, you open the water, and it has a row of holes, so water can drip down as you wash the clothing.
Oh, I haven't seen that one. I've just got like the spigot and the slant, and then I think that's
they had the holes. It's pretty cool.
The other thing I think people that it took a while for me to get used to was I don't think I've ever seen dryers anywhere else. They're like in every house in America, but they're pretty rare. I mean, I've seen them, but not as a regular thing. Like when I was in Europe, in Austria, I think like 1 in 40 homes had a dryer.
Wow.
In Asia, they're not that common. Everybody just line dries everything.
Well, when I grew up, I did have a dryer.
Okay.
But that was very uncommon amongst my friends. Plus, I lived in a tropical city. You just hang the stuff, and by night it was dry.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then it's also better for like antibacterial because the sun actually kills a lot of stuff that's on the clothing and stuff. So it actually has that purpose to it too.
And I'll ditch it out too. So unfortunately, you can't leave it out for too long. But it does remove any scent or anything. So it is. Sun drying is a good thing.
It's a good thing until, of course, you live in the snow. Then
yes.
Then not so much. It's maybe you hang it up there and like next week it's dry.
No, it's not. It's never. I'm telling you right now, if you leave it inside the house because the environment becomes very dry due to the heat, then you actually do want to leave your clothing wet to add some sort of humidity. Otherwise, your skin is gonna crack. I mean, I remember Michigan in the wintertime. Oof.
So my least favorite activity in the winter in snowy environments is shoveling snow. Because it just feels like an endless task. It's like you do it to get out. Because I had my 2 dogs and they would always like to go for walks and they didn't care if it was snowing or not. They're like, hey, we're white. We got thick fur. We're good to go. And they're also like little 13, 14 pounders. So they love to like jump in and out. Like when the snow got really deep in Colorado, they would just jump Like you can't walk really once it gets to a certain distance.
Yes, yes, yes.
So they're just hopping in and out, but it's like you shovel the snow and you take them for a walk and you come back in and they want to go back out again in like 3-4 hours, and it's snowed some more. So you got to shovel the snow to get back out. Stubbled it. So we're both having good talking days today. So in my mind, I had always joked about this. I'm like, man, you know what would be cool? If I could somehow train these guys to earn their walk by having to do a little of this before we go.
Oh my gosh, can you be any more adorable? Like, that's just ridiculous. Look how happy that dog is.
I know.
Look at him.
He's like, I got this. I'm helping. Well, I'm not really helping, but I'm helping.
No, he is,
right there.
Microscopic amount, but that is a happy dog. That really is a happy dog.
There are certain dogs that are just built for the snow, and other dogs not so much.
Yeah, my dog, no, she'll be like, hello, no, thank you. But she does like colder weather. She doesn't like the heat of the summer, whether it's in Michigan, Texas, or Florida. She really doesn't like it. She'd rather be a little cold. Like I would put a jacket on her in the wintertime in Michigan.
Yeah, I used to be very like anti-dogs with clothes until I kind of started reading a little bit more, and I'm like, okay, that is actually kind of necessary for dogs. And then I started to accept it, and then I came across a photo a couple days ago that just kind of made me almost revert.
Okay.
It was a photo.
Reverse the other way.
Yeah, I reverted back to my animals should not be wearing clothes. So I saw one photo where it's been really, really hot lately, and somebody put like actual shoes on their dog. And I'm like, that's cool. The asphalt is super hot. We don't realize, they always say touch the asphalt, and if it's hot to your hand, it's hot to their paws. Their pads are not like, not temperature sensitive. But somebody in a stylish fashion decided to put Crocs on their cat.
Gosh.
Actual Crocs.
Crocs on cats.
On a cat.
Fucking pachyderms.
I'm like, A, serves no purpose. B, oh, come on.
I'm sure the cat was not very pleased with the situation.
Cats always look like Pepita. They just always have a perpetual, like, I am not pleased. I am not amused look on their face.
Nothing you do amuses me, you subject.
So there are certain jobs, though, where animals like to pitch in, or we like to get them to pitch in. And then there's other jobs they're just better than us at. Right?
Okay.
Like, have you been traveling a little bit in Southeast Asia? Like I've mentioned before, I love islands. I like snorkeling. I like to be on the islands. I like to be near water. Let me just snorkel. I don't even need to scuba. Just head in the water.
Yeah, I agree.
Hanging out. I am a happy camper. Well, I saw a monkey like up in a coconut tree. And I'm like, okay, that could be dangerous.
Yeah.
Like, coconuts, because it's not like they're short trees. So I'm thinking
true. A lot of people are injured every year by coconuts.
Falling coconuts, like falling. There's like stats of like vending machines have like killed more people than sharks have. There's those random things out there of things falling on you that you wouldn't assume can kill you, but will. You haven't heard the vending machine thing before?
No, that's actually shocking because you have to be an idiot to shake it in such a way that will harm you. Unless there is a tornado or a hurricane and the thing flies and it hits you. Well,
but I think too that the stat was more meant to impress upon people that like there's not that many shark deaths every year. Like
that will make total sense.
I think you can go like an entire year with having no fatalities by shark in the world.
It is fun to watch Shark Week, though.
You know what? I don't know what I was doing when that was so trendy, but I never got in to Shark Week. But again, Jaws made me afraid of the ocean for quite some time. So I don't think I want to like reinforce. I got over it. But as I've told this story a little in the past on another episode, where I grew up, you couldn't see more than like a foot or 2 feet into the water because it was so murky. So I just still have a thing about not being able to see underneath me.
Yeah. Yeah.
So in like the Caribbean and stuff, I love going to the islands because the water's so clear. I can swim out. I can see underneath me. I can see fish, and A, I love seeing the fish, but B, I know what's underneath me.
Yeah, and if you go to Honduras and Mexico, that big coral reef, the second largest in the world, is
Off
right.
the Yucatan. Yep.
Yes.
Yeah,
Wow.
Belize. It stretches all the way down to Belize. It's supposed to be absolutely gorgeous.
It's
I want
beautiful.
to. That's one of the places I'm thinking about going next is Cozumel. Cozumel Island. The
Yep.
Airbnbs are relatively cheap. I was surprised. They're much cheaper on the island than they are across in Cancun and stuff.
Well,
So.
because crossing the towards Riviera Maya and stuff like that is very expensive. The ferry.
Yeah, but you don't have to. They've got an airport. You can just land right
Exactly.
there on
Yeah.
Cozumel and go. So
Go to Roatan. It's an island of Honduras, and they have jaguars there and
ooh.
sloths. And there's a lot of rescue areas that rescue the animals that need help, and so you often see jaguars and the sloths and monkeys, and it is beautiful. The island, it's not a wealthy. I'll take that back. There is the wealthy area, and then there is the not so wealthy area, and it is interesting to go through all of them just to explore the culture and the people. But beautiful, beautiful place to go and explore the forest as well as the ocean.
but that's
It's a
on the
good mix.
Caribbean
Yeah,
side.
it's
Yeah,
a Roatan. It's in Honduras.
it's okay. Yeah, okay. I was thinking Nicaragua because Nicaragua going to the Caribbean side is like they barely have any roads that even go to that side of the country. It's very, very, very rugged over there. But I haven't been to Honduras yet.
Yeah, it's an island. Go to the island.
Gotcha. So
Mhm.
jaguars and sloths. So their version of a race like tortoise and the hare would be jaguars and sloths.
Yep, that sounds about right. That sounds about right, and I will be very interested to see how that'll go. That'll be an interesting job.
So thinking about my coconut thing, I started looking around the internet when I was putting this video together, and
Sorry, looking at these.
it turns out that that macaques are actually professional coconut pickers. Like they
Oh wow!
actually train them and send them up the tree. And it turns out because they can climb so fast, most of the time of picking coconuts is ascending and descending the tree itself.
Yeah.
That macaques can actually pick 20 times more coconuts than humans can.
Wow, you just pay them with another coconut and a couple of bananas and pineapples, I mean papayas, and you're all set.
Exactly. It's a little bit like you were saying with the fishing cormorants. Like it's the food that they eat normally, and then if you open them for them, I mean, obviously the macaques can open it. They've learned how to bang them against rocks and stuff. But I'm sure if you cut out some of the hard work, they appreciate it.
That's amazing. That is amazing. They
Yeah.
also use them for picking. If you buy really fancy tea, there's a tea called monkey picked, and the
Really?
monks used to train the monkeys to pick the tea.
Monks trained monkeys to pick the tea. Okay. All right. Make sure I got it all put
We're
together.
going with double monkey, packing and parking.
Yeah, we're doing it today.
Frogs. I don't know what's going on today.
We are tongue-tied and limericking. This will be the episode of tongue-tied and limericking. This episode. We thought it was going to be animals doing human jobs, but it turned into tongue-tied and limericks.
It seems that way.
So I came across this one. I found it strange, and I'm curious what you would do or what your perception would be. You're in an airport and you see one bee flying around. And then all of a sudden, you see a second bee. And then a third bee. And you're like, okay, there's a lot of bees inside of this airport.
Mm-hmm.
What would be your reaction? Just like, oh, random bee.
Be my reaction?
Yes, what would be? Bum. I can't bang my desk or the camera will shake. But
what will be your reaction with the bee?
yes, exactly that thing that you just said in that thing in the way that you just said it. Yes.
I'll be very concerned for sure, because there must be a queen bee somewhere that may have gotten stuck. And the beautiful thing about bees is they will protect their queen. Even if they get stuck in a car or anything, they will protect the queen, and they'll swarm around protecting her. Now, many bees are actually traveling. They're nomads,
Yeah.
So just because you see a swarm in your car doesn't mean they're going to form a hive there. They could be just traveling.
Gotcha.
So I will definitely call an expert to make sure they remove the bees safely.
And then you would die. Because
I probably lock myself in a
no,
closet.
because the reason the bees are there. So there are some airports.
Why would the bee be there?
There's airports in the United States that have actually trained bees to be bomb sniffers. Instead of using dogs,
No.
they've trained bees and they have effectively found explosives inside bags.
That is the coolest thing ever. Who would have thought? I bet you they train them with pheromones
They do.
and they and pay them with water, sugar water.
Yep,
Or
they put
something.
sugar water there, and that was the training regimen. It was pheromones and sugar water to train them.
I love that.
I thought it was really, and then I guess there's like my problem with it was nobody else knows that. Like you'd have to have signs all over the airport, like bees on patrol or something. But there's a lot of people that are allergic to bee stings, and people also swat at bees. Like
I was thinking that, like how dangerous, because you're killing people without realizing they're harming an animal that took some serious training. Although bees are really smart and they learn from each other.
Yes.
So they're actually, believe it or not, I'm not gonna say easier to train than a dog, but they are definitely fast learners, especially when the motivation is I'm getting paid right away. That's all they think. All they think is about creating the honey to create a bigger hive. So, but I feel bad. You're right.
But that was my thing. I was just like, I wonder how many bees get killed on the job because it's interesting and like I found it amazing because I used to work with canines and canines take a really long time to train. They're actually like professionally trained. I believe they're all Dutch for the most part. That was like the first schools was in Holland. And so most of the commands are in Dutch, but it takes a long time to train canines for whatever purpose, whether it be police or bomb sniffing or anything like that. And like you said,
I'm still training our dog and she's 11.
Yeah. And we talked about it in a previous podcast, how, like you were saying, bees are really good at training other bees when we were doing the sports episode, and they had trained the bees to play soccer, and they tried it 3 ways. And the fastest way to train them was just by having the other bees that already knew how to play soccer teach the newbies how to do it. So the turnover of how quick it would be to train them, I could definitely see the benefit, but just the safety of the people and the bees, I don't know. To me, it just seemed interesting. Like, would you have to have signs all over the airport? Would somebody even really care? If you're allergic to a bee, you're like, away from me.
Yeah, but I wonder if the bees don't have to land on humans. There has to be something that attracts them, and they may train them with a pattern. There has to their bees naturally are not gonna go down onto humans to sniff them. They don't have to. I would assume.
Or they could also keep them
far distances.
They could also keep them in the baggage areas, maybe after they're already checked in before they get loaded onto the plane, maybe. But then
that
they're
would
outside.
probably be the most practical way.
Okay.
Because I mean, every time I travel with Pepita, I always get a swab for bomb. Always, every time. If I'm walking with her, I'm always going to be tested.
Really? Oh, because they won't bring the canine bomb sniffing dogs near other dogs, so they have to do it by hand?
I don't see the dogs. I would love to see the dogs. They make my day. But no, you don't see the dogs. It's just every time you go through TSA, I have Pepita with me because I can't go through the machine that makes you raise your arm.
Oh, okay.
I can only go through the old detector.
Gotcha.
So they're always,
Gotcha. No, so they're missing that element. I've never traveled with a dog, so I didn't think about that aspect of what machines you can and can't go through when you're. It's interesting.
Yeah, it is very interesting, and sometimes even my jewelry gets picked up, and it's just a simple moonstone. There are times when that a piece of jewelry activates the machine, which I do not understand why. I mean, it must be charged with positive energy. I'm gonna go with that.
Yeah, that's interesting. I wonder, that must have been quite the chore, though, when they had all of the emotional support animals. They've definitely cracked down on the random like parrots and any animal you want to call an emotional support animal classifies.
Which is sad because there are people who do bond with their turkey, and although we don't personally understand it, it is their bond that makes that person feel safe. So it's sad. I understand what they do. I mean, they have to draw a line somewhere, unfortunately. But
Yeah.
I do understand people who bond with their snakes, with their crocodiles, with their turkeys, or even ponies. Like people use ponies as a guide animal, as a service animal, because they don't shed as much, they live longer, they're stronger. So many people actually use ponies and smaller
Yeah.
equine for that purpose, which is fascinating as a job too.
Yeah. I think the catch was, though, and I didn't, because I don't travel with animals. I mean, I am an animal person, so I was interested in the story, but I didn't dig super deep into it and like try to find both sides of the argument and stuff like that. But isn't one of the catches, if it's an emotional support animal, you don't have to pay for it either? And that was part of the loophole people were taking advantage of?
Yes, actually, about last year or so, a lot of airlines decided either they don't accept animals, like that's it, we don't accept any animal. For a while, American Airlines, um, they literally said no animals traveling internationally, not
Gotcha.
necessarily nationally is a different story. I've traveled with Pepita, and I've took American, not American, but Delta and many airlines, and some of them allow emotional support dogs. Others just charge you regardless,
Gotcha.
regardless of. And it is only cats, dogs, and small birds,
Gotcha.
or maybe a bunny, like small animals
Okay.
that they have to be under the
Under the
seat.
seats
So
in
the
front of you.
carrier has to be certain dimensions. Really, and each airline does different. There are some airlines that will charge you flat fee. I don't care if it's emotional or if it's for pleasure that you're traveling with your dog. Because
Gotcha.
for some airlines, they view every animal as an emotional support dog or as an
Gotcha.
emotional support pet. So it's easier to just be like, okay, we'll charge everyone.
Gotcha.
It's a
Okay.
it's a tough one because I travel with my dog a lot, and it gets very expensive. Like I asked the guy, like, can I just buy her a ticket? It would be cheaper for me to buy a seat for her, and I would
Yeah.
get luggage and space than it is to pay for her to go under a space that I already paid for. So
Gotcha.
that's also another catch that I'm about to start leading the fight for. If your dog is in a carrier, just charge me $40 just for cleaning, but not 125. That's the
Yeah.
maximum an airline charges. 125 per trajectory. It's not like the whole trip.
Yeah. And if you're within the United States, that makes sense. You could buy a seat that's actually cheaper than what they charge you to take. Yeah.
Traveling to Colombia was cheaper for my ticket than it was to buy her tickets.
It is a major hub.
Mhm.
Hey guys, if you have any more, this is actually fun because this is stuff that I don't know a lot about. So if you guys have other animal travel tips or hacks or fun things, please feel free to put them in the comments below. If you like the podcast, you guys made it this far. Hopefully you guys had a really good time. I know we had a really good time. But do us a favor and click the button. And if you guys are watching or listening to us on a podcast, please go to Apple, Google, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts, and give us a 5-star review and give us a 5-star rating and write us a review. We love reading what you guys have to say about the show and any comments you have or suggestions. It's really fun for us to do. And thank you guys a ton, and we will see you next time. Bye,
Bye.
Mar.
Thank you. Bye.